Everyone, how you doing tonight? It is Sunday night. Nice cool day here in Arizona. My son just got home from Minnesota, and we were all mostly relaxing today. We didn't get too much accomplished, none of us, and it felt great because we don't do that too often. So I just thought I'd end the day by doing something productive and share this article that is on Medium.com. And now this journalist, this name looks really familiar, and I probably should know exactly who this is, but I think this person's a friend of mine on social media. So this found this article through Twitter. Somebody shared it. I can't remember who I shared it again, but I wanted to just go ahead and read through this about the targeted individual phenomenon, which, at this time last year, people were calling me crazy, along with the rest of you that are targeted. And now, I don't know if a lot of you are doing the same thing that I'm doing, but I just talk to everybody while I'm out and about, perp or not, I don't care. And it seems, from my experience, it seems like this information is getting out, and it's not like UFO information, which there's stuff coming out about that now too, but basically it's not, hey, that's impossible, you're crazy, that's, oh, I've heard of that. So this awesome person here wrote this up, and I would like to go through this article with y'all. So in the post 9/11 era, understanding the targeted individual phenomenon is no longer optional. No longer optional. You cannot call us crazy anymore. There's too much proof. There's too many people. There's too much evidence. In the wake of the attacks on September 11th, 2001, the targeted individual phenomenon exploded out of obscurity as millions of individuals of high integrity began to report being stalked by security services agents, personnel, contractors, and affiliates. This kind of stalking has become known as gang stalking, organized stalking, or group stalking, but the most accurate description is security service stalking. My dad worked in private security for some different places when I was younger. Lockheed Martin, Skunk Works, Rocketdyne. They built the motors for the space shuttle. Different places like that. And some of these companies, I believe there's one called SAIC. SAIC. So that has the letters CIA in it. I wouldn't be surprised at all to find out that was a CIA front. They usually like to do that, like with CNN. It's like CNN in cursive, but if you could easily put CIA in the CNN logo. Anyway, most people experience a great deal of fear when confronted with what is that word? Incontrovertible? That is a new one for me. I will look that word up. I'm not going to try to act like I'm a rocket surgeon here. I'm just a guy trying to get some information out. So, this is how we learn, I guess. So that's a new one. Incontrovertible evidence that unmasks grotesque lies rogue power holders within our society have dismissed through their channels of manipulation and control. This seemingly overwhelming fear response has been conditioned in front of us from childhood. The targeted individual phenomenon is among one of the most shocking, painful, and disorienting truths that American citizens of all nations of the world need to marshal the courage to confront. Yes, exactly. Thank you. This person is a good writer. It is simultaneously interrelated and equally as radically disturbing as the systematic pedophilia phenomenon, the systematic geoengineering phenomenon, and the 9/11 false flag operation. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. This is the most terrible thing I've ever heard of or seen, witnessed in person. This essay isn't intended to be read casually or when one is hurried. nor in a low state of mind. What you will read in this essay and see and hear in the linked videos will radically shock you and rattle every remaining notion you may still hold onto of the sacred myth of American exceptionalism. You may feel physically sick, you may tear up, you may doubt the worth of the human race. However, if you are vitally alive, that will be clear. Is it no longer an option to remain frozen with fear as millions of innocent people, most of which represent those of us the highest integrity and value to society in the U.S., Europe, and most regions of the world, are being trafficked into human experimentation programs of slow torture, major fraud, and mass murder? This is the first time I'm reading this. And I'm so happy to hear that this person is explaining this as human trafficking, because that's exactly what it is. This is human trafficking. They're not, and people can't wrap their head around that because they're not picking up a person, putting them in a vehicle, and taking them to a place. This person has the appearance of having free will, but they are manipulated, tortured, gaslit, poisoned, raped. It goes on and on. Set up. It's the worst type of torture because it's like everybody looks at you like the boy crying wolf because you keep saying, "Oh, this thing happened to me. This thing happened to me. It wasn't my fault. I didn't do this. Please believe me. Trust me. These people are doing this weird stuff, and I don't understand." Now there's finally something going to be done about this. All well-targeted individuals, families, friends, and colleagues insidiously are forced into a trap agreement and have control files written up and filed about them based on fraudulent pretense of association with a criminal. This is used as leverage to subjugate them or turn them into full-fledged targeted individuals themselves at some point in the future. Then, of course, when you zoom out to macro perspective on the security service stalking situation, what becomes very clear is the sadistic social political momentum and undertow that is created in the broader communities that witness and are forced to stand down while these stalking crimes occur, serve as mass trauma-based mind control device to create fertile ground to perpetuate and expand the holistic globalist criminal business model. This person understands the theory of this. Okay. In the post-September 11th era, the security service stalking situation represents a state of emergency that requires people from every walk of life, including those with integrity within our intelligence agencies and all security service organizations, to see through the very fear that arises in the face of such a grotesque problem, and the leverage that seeing to let this fear give wings to your innate evolutionary impulse to evolve to your truest, deepest, most genuine self, the self within you that knows no fear. I'm going to read this guy's bio. That is a great article. I thought I had read through that whole thing, and maybe I'm not remembering that correctly. I don't know. So this is Thomas Fontes McFarlane. McFarlane, that's a town not too far from Fresno, where I grew up, on the way to Bakersfield, like Visalia, Tulare, out that way, a real small farming town. They made a movie about it, but the Hispanic cross-country runners. Anyway, maybe this guy was one? No, that's his last name. Anyway. So this is Thomas's bio. It says, I worked professionally as an art director and graphic designer for 14 years from 1998 to 2012 as a graduate of the Innovative Art Design, Film, and Creative Multidisciplinary College Cal Arts in Los Angeles. I worked as a graphic designer at an elite level for high-end brands in the automotive, entertainment, and internet technology industries, among others. Since 2013, fate has presented me with a radically different path as a human rights activist, psycho-spiritual teacher, and multidisciplinary journalist spanning writing, photography, and graphic design. Man, me and this guy could hang out. Just a few months after the attacks in New York, just a few months after the attacks in New York City on September 11th, 2001, very late in the year 2001, I began to be subjected to security services stalking. No wonder this person can write this so well. He has gone through it. I was wondering if somebody took the time to research this much, but when you're a targeted individual, you become an expert on this program. You are, you've lived it. There's no better expert than somebody that has lived something for a long time. You know how it works. You know how this operates. The best detectives for this later in the future, the best psychologists that will be able to help the trauma that all of the targeted individuals will go through will be former targeted individuals, the ones that were rock solid, that they somehow weren't affected mentally or physically by this program. I don't know how that can happen. You have to be a superhero to not be affected by this. But anyway, there's people that are going to be able to recover, to push forward, become psychologists. Ones that won't say, "What? People are following you? You're crazy. Let's give you this pill." Well, that's a psychiatrist that gives you the pill. But you get what I'm saying. There'll be people that will be able to completely understand the theory of what a person has gone through as a targeted individual, and they will be able to walk them through the same recovery that they went through. That might be something I need to look into for down the road. By December, okay, let's see. Oh, where did I leave off here? Okay, that got me there. Okay, and you know what? Let me mention this too. So this person was interested in 9/11, an artistic, creative person, clearly a smart person with an extensive vocabulary. This is your typical targeted individual right here. An empowered individual, somebody that makes their own decisions, somebody that asks questions, somebody that's creative. They provide something to society. They have ideas. So many targeted individuals that I've seen fit into this this bubble here. It's like they wanted to turn the world gray. By December of 2012, this campaign of surreal and intense stalking became so extreme that I had to evacuate my apartment in metropolitan Los Angeles to live in hiding in my childhood home along the coast of Los Angeles. This stalking continues to this day, and I continue to have to live mostly in seclusion. This essay provides an in-depth yet focused analysis of the security service stalking phenomenon that must be brought to an end. Okay, I don't know if I'm going to read this. Oh, yeah, what the hell? I'll just go through it. Okay, so this is Dr. Kilde, Dr. Rooney Kilde. She was the Surgeon General of Finland, and she was a targeted individual. She was murdered. I would bet my life on it that she did not commit suicide. She didn't die randomly. She was killed. She's one of the pioneers that started getting this information out, and she lost her life for it. She needs to be in the history books. Listen to this guy all the time, Dr. Eric Karlstrom. I thought he was living here in northern Arizona. He was teaching in northern Arizona, but this guy is very smart. He says a few things that might ruffle some feathers, but uncomfortable truths do that. I'm not saying every single thing that he says is correct, because all of us, even though we have become experts on this whole situation from being in it over so long, you don't know every single fact because you don't have the intel. Basically, you don't have the information that the people that created this have. You have an educated guess. Here's Romola. Maybe the best targeted individual show out there. There's some really good ones. Um, I don't know. I'm gonna go ahead and say this might be the. I shouldn't pick favorites. There's some really good shows with a lot of good information. Everybody is doing their best to put out information. Romola just seems to have. I don't know. There's something about her that she's a fighter, man. She's one of those people that say, "Okay, look, you did this to me. I'm not putting up with this. I am smart enough to figure this out. I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to let this marinate, and all of you people are going to end up being proven criminals." So that's Romola. Check out her channel, Romola D, on YouTube. She interviews a lot of great people. There's Jack Christiana. He just went in front of the city council recently and showed them an image of his brain and an image of a schizophrenic brain, and how his is actually more active than the normal brain. And they were trying to call him schizophrenic. He's got lawsuits going against, I think it was the city of Huntington Beach, for gang stalking him. Ted Gunderson, former FBI special agent, he's dead now. I submitted his affidavit with my court papers. Jeff Godwin, just watched a documentary he did recently. He went through satanic ritual abuse with vivid memories of it, not any kind of deleted memories like a lot of people that go through satanic ritual abuse have, or trauma-based mind control. There's Karen. There's my buddy Karen. That's the first person that I saw online explaining what was happening, and it sounded like she was explaining my life. So been listening to her, and just had her on the last episode of the Barden Report. So I don't think this video is going to go on to the Barden Report, because this is just a well, it's a report, but just a video I wanted to do at the end of the night. Randy Quaid, I've messaged this guy several times. I don't expect him to get back to me. Probably a million people try to message this guy, but I'd love to have him on my show. I love comedy. I've been laughing at this guy since I was a little kid, and it turns out him and I have something in common that that nobody else other than a targeted individual can completely understand. So, man, I'd love to have a conversation with him. This is a long article. Whoa, this is a long article. All right, I am going to finish reading this on my own. But you guys get the idea. Go through this. I mean, if you're targeted, you don't need to read through this to understand what targeting is. This is for people that are making it to my channel, that have heard about this, that understand that it's not a bunch of schizophrenics out there running around. It's most likely a patriot, a Christian, somebody that questioned authority, that questioned official narratives that were bullshit, like I've been doing my whole life. People that were posting on Facebook in like 2004, 2005 about, Janet Yellen and the Federal Reserve being a corporation and not even part of our federal government. That was me. While I was a journalist in the Air Force, in California, of all places, posting things about Obama and his birth certificate. Well, you name it. Chemtrails. I was talking about chemtrails. I was posting on Facebook about chemtrails over 10, 12, 13 years ago now. Jeez. So that probably didn't do too well for me. I talked about Obama's birth certificate and how it could have easily been manipulated at the Defense Information School, or by somebody that was taught at the Defense Information School in Maryland, where I attended. Actually, I lived at Fort Meade, Maryland, twice in my life, going to that school, and actually I saw a video of that document being unlayered. They didn't lock that document. And if you know anything about graphics, you work in layers a lot. And to flatten the image, you flatten the image and then you lock the layers. Well, if you flatten the image and you save it, anyway, there's a process to it. They didn't do that, and they reverse engineered that thing. They took it apart and showed how it was fake, and now we understand that. Oh, Obama said it, But I was talking about that 12, 13 years ago, and it's been a rough road. I think that's all I'm going to do here, everybody. I just wanted to, like I said, do something productive today. So I'll quit babbling here. Go to medium.com. I will leave the link to this article. I'm copying it right now, and I will put it here in the what is this called here? The details. Jeez. All right, it might be time for me to call it a day. So this video, I just wanted to add this along with this this video right here, the watch list on Shield of the Sun, Miguel Jimenez. He has a really good video here on the watch list and basically how it was created, when it was created. Sounds like a very intelligent guy. That's not a good picture of him. It's almost impossible to freeze a video, have somebody look good. But anyway, go to this video. I'm going to put the link, listen to that, and go check out this article about targeted individuals by Thomas McFarlane. I'm pretty sure that is a friend on Twitter. So hey, man, thanks for writing this article. Hope to meet you someday at the big party, when we all meet up and we go get to see our name on the list. Maybe they'll have some big wall or something of the survivors, and one for the fallen targets too. All right, everyone, have a good night. I hope I hit record on this. There we go. All right, good night. Hope you had a good weekend.